and welcome to my Abyssal Sire guide, updated for 2016 with all the new jewelry, the arc light, all the different new things that may not have been there in the previous Abyssal Sire guides that may be out already. And this is my guide on how to kill Abyssal Sire. I recently just got the pet. If we go ahead and look over here at my boss log, I actually got it at 904 KC, 7 unsired kills, or 7 unsireds that I got from it, where I got the unsired. The unsired's a rate of 1 in 100, so I got very lucky with this pet, considering how unlucky I was with unsireds. And yeah, I got it very early, very happy to have that. I do feel I've learned how to kill Abyssal Sire pretty well. I actually did most of my kills with the Hasta, but the Arc Light is the best in slot, so I will show you how to do it with the Arc Light. This stuff up here is what I use, the chest plate and the 4-way range switch for the start, the Dragon Warhammer with the Tyrannical Ring switch. Some people prefer the Crystal Halley and the Artimax Cape. I'll show an example of both to show you, which one you may want to use. I don't really think it increases kills per hour regardless. And also, if you can't afford the max gear, you can always take this stuff right here. You could take a different kind of setup. You could take an Arty Cape instead of a Fire Cape. What I would recommend is if you do take a Dragon Warhammer, to take the Fire Cape, and if you take a Crystal Halley as your spec weapon, to take the Arty Cape, just because if you hit with the Dragon Warhammer, you don't really need the accuracy of an Arty Cape, but if you don't use the Dragon Warhammer to weaken its defense, then you probably want to have the Arty Cape for the accuracy. So now that we've gotten to the gear, let's get into the runes here. So I've got blood runes, I've got my rune pouch which has deaths, souls, and airs. That is so I can cast the Shadow Barrage and the Blood Barrage. I would very highly recommend for stats that you have at least 92 magic. It's very, very useful. Blood Barrage just does so much more than Burst. Burst won't be healing you as much. It is effective to do, you can still do it, but Blood Barrage is just so much better. So I'd really highly recommend that. Also, the way the shadow spells work at Sire is the Rush is a 25% chance to stun the first phase, the Burst is a 50% chance, the Blitz is a 75% chance, and the Shadow Barrage is a 100% chance to stun it, so you definitely want to have at least 88, but 92 for the healing is also very, very key. So now let's get into the inventory right now. Okay, so this is the kind of general inventory you kind of want to have. What I usually take is 3 super combats, I take 5 staminas, 2 sandfuse, and the amount of restores you take, I usually take 8. You can take 9, obviously, if you want a full inventory. The reason I take 8 is that way I'm not juggling too much. The Sire does drop a lot of different drops, so you will be dropping an item usually at the start of the kill. That way you can get your blowpipe out because it's a two-hand weapon. So that's why I leave the 1 space open. Also, if you don't have a max cape, the max cape actually has a POH to go to your house teleport now. But if you don't have that, you can always take a house tab instead. You can just bring yourself a Avas instead of the max cape, and then you're good to go. But I take the max cape as I am maxed. And this Dragon Warhammer and Tyrannical Ring can be swapped out for the Crystal Halberd. So if you take that, you obviously don't need to have the 2 spaces there. And in that case, you probably could take the 9 restores, and you would just swap out for the Arty Cloak instead of the Fire Cape, and that would be your setup right there instead. So you leave a couple spaces open, that way at the start, the first kill, you've always got that 1 space open, and then that 1 space can be used to pick up the first item you get. And as I said, you could take a Hasta instead of an Arc Light. I did most of my kills with a Hasta. For the sake of this video, I'll probably do both, and we'll carry on here. Let's move on to actually killing it. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention is that if you don't have the Lumbridge diaries done, the Elite diary done, you actually need to have your Dramen staff with you to use the fairy rings. So you might want to either use that as your free space there, or get rid of 1 restore, get rid of 1 stamina, whatever you got to do. You probably need that if you don't have the diary done. I always forget about it because it just, for so long I've had it, and yeah, there you go. You also need to have that if you don't have the diary. My bad. So again, the inventory is just based on myself. I'm max melee, I've got 99 prayer, so everything I have here, I've got 99 agility as well, so the staminas work just fine for me. I actually usually end up having extra stamina. But if you have the ornate pool in your house, you drink from there on your way back. You take the fairy ring in your house, or whatever fairy ring you have, go DIP, which is the fairy ring to get to Sire, and actually once you're here, let me go ahead and show you the layout of Sire. So it's this big map right here. and this is where we're at right now. We're right in the center of it. There's 4 layers. You can go northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast, whichever way you want to go to any of these 4. I usually take the southeast one, but you go to any of them, it doesn't really matter. And right here in the center is where you turn in your Unsireds when you get them to the font. You just use it on it, and it will return you an item, whatever item you really want, or not what you want, but whatever item you get out of it, you will get an item with an Unsired drop if you do get one. And let's move on. Okay, so before we get into killing the boss, one thing you really need to know about Sire is these tentacles. They have a range to hit you anywhere where it's not in these 3 squares going north to south. These 3 squares right here, you're safe basically from the tentacles, but if you step out 1 square, the tentacles will hit you. So you want to stay within this range, and I'll kind of draw out a little line here. So this range is where you want to stay when the tentacles are up. When they're down, when you have the respirators hit and you're doing the first phase, it doesn't matter. When they start opening their eyes, though, you want to make sure you get to this area going north to south where the 3 lines are, or else you will take damage if you step out 1 square, or if you're over here somewhere. Anywhere in this area, you will be taking damage, and that's a very important thing to know for the first phase, the 3rd phase, and the 4th phase. The 2nd phase, it actually doesn't matter, but I thought I'd throw this in there because that's very important to know that you have to stand in that area, or you will take a lot of damage from tentacles. They can hit up to like 25s, I think. I've been hit pretty hard from them. They've almost killed me before. So that's just one precautionary thing. Now let's move on to actually killing the boss. So when people are healing, a lot of the times they'll run to a certain spot, and the 2 spots that most people go to is right here all the way southeast. It'll lure all the minions into this area right here, and you can attack them without being attacked back. So it's pretty good for healing. Another spot people do if you're running here and the angle's not right is they go west behind here, and you'll get some of the minions up here on the north. It's not as good of a spot as the east spot. I don't really use it, mainly because I just run back and forth to heal. So if I'm here attacking, for example, and I need to heal, I'll just run back, and then I'll cast on the minions a couple times, and I'll just go back to it, just because I feel like it's a lot quicker to do that. But you can use those spots if you want. I personally have stopped using them, and that's basically where people go to heal. So Sire has 4 phases. The first phase is the one where you use your range gear, and you want to stun the Sire at the start. And then once it's stunned, you want to be attacking the respirators on the west and east side. There's 4 of them in total. You want to, get those, killed. And then every time that the tentacles start to wake up, or the Sire starts to wake up, you go ahead and re-stun it. And to start off your kill, you're going to go to long range on the pipe. And the reason you do this is because you can't attack it with rapid or accurate. Long range saves you 1 cast of the spell, so you go to that, you switch to rapid, and then you give it a nice stun. Like I said, once it's stunned, all you gotta do is go over and attack each of the respirators. Now, I go north to south on the west side, and on the east side, I go south to north. The reason for this is because midway through a trip, sometimes you want to heal on them. With the Blood Barrage or a Blood Blitz, you can actually steal a hit in the middle of it, and it's very effective for healing up at the start of a kill. If last kill, maybe you ended at like 70 HP or something, and you want to get your HP back up a little bit. So I'll show you a couple examples of that right now, and basically you just want to be healing in the middle of trips, but at the start of the trip it doesn't really matter too much. You can just attack all 4 respirators, get them down, and then start your second phase. So like I said, you heal up, you get those down, and now you're moving on to the second phase. So to start your second phase, you're going to put on your melee gear, and if you use a Dragon Warhammer, you want to pop that on as well as your Tyrannical Ring. If you don't use a Dragon Warhammer, then don't worry about it. And this little line right here, this pink line in front of where the Sire spawns, where I stand, I wait here, I put my melee prayer on, and then I spec it out. If you use a Crystal Halley, you actually want to save your specs for the 3rd phase, but you want to get your Dragon Warhammer off if you use that for the 2nd phase. Now, the Sire on the 2nd phase has 4 different attacks. The most important one you want to watch out for is the one right there, which is the poison attack. That can actually hit you for up to 30 damage or so, rapidly as well. If you don't have anti-poison, which I don't right there, as you saw, I just drank a Sandfew serum. Now, if you are immune, it can hit you for up to 16s rapidly, and so that's the one you want to watch out for. It like hugs itself kind of. You can tell the animation if you're paying attention. And I'll show a couple examples of that right now. And you just want to watch out for that animation. That's the only one that really matters. The rest of it, you can just sit there and AFK, And as long as you're avoiding the poison, all you've got to do is just keep damaging it until it starts the third phase. Once you've done enough damage, it will carry on into the third phase. So you just avoid poison and just keep attacking it. It's pretty simple for the second phase. Not really much to it. Now you'll know the third phase has started when you hit it one time and it just starts walking away, and your hit doesn't actually do any damage, whether or not you get XP. That's when you know that the third phase has started, like this. And this third phase and the fourth phase are a little bit tricky to explain, so I'm going to try my best to do that. So there's a few ways to start the third phase. What I do is I stand under that one square where the little like curve is on the pink line, and then I just click on the Sire. And what it does is it spawns a poison pool instantly under you, and then every 5 game ticks, or basically every 1 to 2 hits, depending on when you do hit, it will spawn another poison pool under you. So you just have to keep moving back and forth. And if you remember when we talked about the 3 squares earlier, you want to go back and forth between the 2 outer squares of those 3 squares. So that way you're staying out of tentacle range, so you're not taking tentacle damage, as well as avoiding the poison pools. So it's just a timing thing. So what I do is for the first 2 hits, I just hit it twice because it's the first and the 5th game tick. And then on that 5th game tick, the poison pool spawns under you. That's when you move. You attack it 1 time, and then it's kind of a counting game from there. You just kind of gotta hit it once, wait a little bit, move back over. Sometimes hit it twice if you hit instantly, and move back over. And for the third phase, you have to do a certain amount of damage. I'm not 100% sure how it works. I believe it does heal itself every time that you hit. So if you don't hit it quick enough, it could take a while to get that third phase. Sometimes it takes 2 hits. If you have a Crystal Halberd, sometimes it takes 1 hit with the spec. So this is when you'd want to use your Crystal Halley if you do own one. It is very effective when it does hit for getting that third phase instantly. And what's going to happen is you're going to get teleported back to that one square. It's a very specific square. It's always that square. So some people, what they like to do is they attack it on the third phase from the north end. That way they're guaranteed to not be teleported into a poison spot when they do get teleported. But I just do the south spot just because I got so used to it. And that's kind of how that works. When it teleports you, what happens is it has the ability to do a special attack. It will always do it. So what you want to do is you want to walk a couple squares south. I usually go 4 squares, but you can actually go 2 squares and you'll be just fine. And you need to avoid that big hit when it opens up the nexus, I guess is what it's called. And you will avoid that. And then you start the 4th phase. Now the 4th phase, this is where chaos is going on. There's poison pools. There's lots of minions being spawned. There's, tentacles are up. You got to do as much as you can to avoid all that stuff at the same time. And the easiest way to do it is, again, starting out the 4th phase, you're going to get 2 hits. And then you're going to move 2 squares over, hit it once, wait a second, move back over. And when it starts to get low HP, that's around the time that you want to start healing. I usually try to get it about 1 hit or 2 hits away from dying when I go back to heal. That way you're spending as little time as possible healing, and it's going to die as soon as you heal. That way there's less of a chance of you going back down in HP and having to heal again, or having to heal more on the respirators on the next kill. So it's all one big jumbled thing. It's hard to really explain it all, but I'm going to try my best to go through each thing one more time just to show you guys examples of everything, and we'll see if we can do that right now. So to show a good example of what I meant by healing right at the end is going to be right here. So I hit it pretty big. It's at pretty low HP. I just run back. I don't specifically lure them into a safe zone. And sometimes when you attack them, the spawns will turn into scions, and that'll be a dead click sort of. And if you're using Crystal Halley right here, you can end the kill pretty quickly if you hit big. And this is what I was talking about going back and forth or going north and south. I was about to go south again there, but the kill did end. And this is right here another good example of starting a kill with lower HP and using the respirators to heal. So you do that 1 long range hit, you go and do that blitz or that barrage, whatever you've got to get that stun going, and then you just start your kill off. You prepare yourself to do a nice barrage there and steal a hit. And then once you've done that, you keep going. And usually, like I said, it usually takes 2 stuns. Sometimes it does take 3 though. And right here, actually, I made a mistake. I could have started attacking the 3rd one. I didn't realize how much time I had left, so I just wanted to not risk it and wait for it to wake up. But I could have started attacking the north one that's close to the Sire, get a little bit of damage. But as soon as it wakes up again, you get that next stun off. you make sure that it's stunned, and then, you know, you finish off both your tentacles there. And let's skip forward a little bit. So to start off your second phase, obviously you're going to pull out your melee gear, and if you have a Dragon Warhammer, you'd spec there, but I have the Crystal Halley in this trip, so you just want to make sure you're potted up, and then you wait for it to come out. And as I said before, the second phase is one of the easier ones. All you got to do is avoid the poison. So we'll go ahead and just, you know, get it done quickly, move on to the third phase. And the third phase, this is where you got to remember that if you have a Crystal Halberd, you want to start specking on the third phase, because you want to get that third phase done as quickly as possible so you can start the end of the kill. So in this example, I actually don't hit, so I have to wait a second. And because the Crystal Halley has a weird attack time, I did kind of mess that up a little bit, and I realized I had to spec again. So I made a mistake there, but it all ended up working out. You just got to make sure you watch those poison pools. And one big tip I can give for the poison pools is to right click where you're going to walk, because sometimes there's going to be some minions in that spot, and you want to make sure that you actually do move instead of clicking on a minion, or else you can start getting hit very hard for the poison. So there's that teleport there that I talked about. You've got to watch out for the teleport. You hit 2 times, you keep hitting. You can also check its HP, which is what I usually do. And then if you're in resizable mode, some people prefer to play resizable, you could see that. And I've hit big here. It's about 1 or 2 hits from dying, so I'm running back. I'm going to get myself a heal off, and then I'm going to run back to it and finish off the kill. Now this is the end here, and as soon as it dies, you start off your next kill as soon as possible. If you're not full HP, I was full HP in this case, but if you're not, then on the next kill, you want to start your next heal. And one little thing which isn't really anything to do with killing the boss, they did add a warning message. If you get law runes and you try to teleport to the wilderness, it will give you a warning. It won't do that for the non-wilderness ones, so if you're trying to go to Kirill or Stenistian, you might want to, you know, not misclick on that, because it probably will teleport you out in the middle of a kill. And other than that, that's pretty much all there is to Sire. It is very simple. I do get about 16 kills a trip myself, 16 to 18 when I was doing Sire. That was with the Hasta and the Dragon Warhammer. You probably could smash out a few more with the Arclight, because it is obviously the better weapon if you can you know, waste the charges on it. If you did enjoy the video, if it did help out at all, please do drop a like. If there's anything that I can improve on, please let me know. If you have any questions as well, you can drop a comment down below. And thank you guys for watching. I hope it helped.